Good day, this is Sean Ricketts reminding you to keep your stick on the ice.
Brought to you by Martine Knife Supply. Good day, and welcome to another episode of Forge Side Chat, a podcast about blacksmithing, bladesmithing, and everything in between, with heavy focus on talent in the Great White North. And we are in the Great White North once again today. I'm bringing on Samuel Mercier here. He's located near Montreal in the town of Saint-Jean-sur-Richelieu.
You got it perfect.
Yes, I had to
There you go.
practice that like 20 times before we started.
Yeah.
Sam's been at this for like 10 years now, and he is making some awesome work, you guys. He's well known in the community now for his knives, his axes. He's also doing gunsmithing, which is something I wasn't actually familiar with when it comes to Sam. And something else he let me know, and he has done, what did you say, over 300 classes now teaching people
Yep.
how to make knives? That's awesome.
Yep. I hit 300 at the beginning of the year this year. Yeah.
That's freaking awesome, dude. And okay, part of me is trying to wrap my head around this. 10 years, brother. I've been
Yeah.
at this for 10 years too. So we pretty much started around the same time. Your growth though, dude, you have taken a very calculated approach to this, obviously.
Yes.
Where unfold this for me. How did you do that, dude?
Well, when we started, anvils weren't that expensive. I think that's the beginning of the whole thing is trying to get a good anvil and all as such. But the way I tried to grow it was really slow. A lot of people are trying to urge me on and go faster. And I still had my like 4 days a week job, and I was working weekends for the courses most of those 10 years. But in the sense that I didn't take out a loan, I just started out like with a small hardwood. I didn't even use charcoal at the beginning, and I just a blower and just started hammering on the small mastercraft anvil, which a lot of people probably did back then when they were available.
So you were taking chunks of hardwood, not charcoal,
Yes,
not
sir.
coal. What?
Yeah.
Wow.
My first few knives were made with hardwood. I stole from my dad's hardwood pile, which he was not very pleased about. In the long run, because you run through a lot of hardwood to heat up a knife.
Yeah.
But yeah, I started in my parents' garage, and then how I got my first anvil was quite crazy. I just bought this MIG welder, the Mastercraft special on Black Friday, I think. Went to his shop because he had cement floors and proper electricals to weld and not jump the breakers all the time. And as I was welding the first like real charcoal forge I was making, and I hunched over and I looked under the workbench and there was an anvil, like, and I weighed it. Now it's like 218 pounds, I believe, and was just sitting there. He's like, "Oh yeah, I forgot I had that. I wanted to put it in the scrap pile, never could lift it up." So that's how I got my first anvil, and I learned in that conversation with him, and he's now deceased. And I switched the name from Samuel Mercier Knives to Les Forges Mercier in his honor 5 years ago. So I went home with my first real big anvil, my upgrade from the Mastercraft Special, and that's how it all started.
Wow. That's an amazing story, dude. It's uh
Yeah.
it's always heartwarming to hear that I don't know. It's such a common thing to hear that people bring in somebody to their shop and that's that step that's that fire that started, right? And next thing you know, they're
Yeah.
into it and frick 10 years later, here you are running a full business just giving her, bud.
Yeah, it's crazy. And like as I was saying, I grew it really slowly. I didn't want to jump ship and like go crazy and get loans and buy a huge belt grinder. So I started like on small belt grinders. And I just bought used machineries, all the marketplace deals I could find over those past 10 years. And I still do it today. I just bought a bench filer, which I'm going to show you around when we go around the shop later on. And just getting those deals and just you're driving out like 2, 3 hours to get them if I needed to. And if the price was right, it made sense. Just
Yeah.
made the time after work, after courses and such. And that allowed me to grow like naturally and organically, where I didn't overstep my financial obligations to like my family, my house. And that led me to buy my first house and then my second house to get a bigger shop because the teaching courses in a two garage shop wasn't ideal.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
that's
for
that's
sure.
how it all started. Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. Um, the marketplace stuff is like I'm huge on that too, dude.
Yeah.
And I've had some hits and misses. Some of them have been
Okay.
like really good. Some of them have been like, well, that was a complete waste of time. What are some of the ones for you that were like, dude, I scored so huge and
Oh,
you can't look back.
I'm gonna have to choose a couple of them. I bought my first milling machine in Montreal. I started to work at like 4 a.m. back then when I was ch working for Child Protection Services, and just opened my phone and there it is, like popped up, nice little milling machine, like smallish, was like $400. And I
Nice.
messaged the guy, like, I'm gonna give you a deposit and everything. I drive out of Montreal, get that machine, came with a rotary table, which I sold for $400 like the next day. So that milling machine in my head was free. That's one of the big ones. And then I upgraded that one to a bigger milling machine in Saint Jean sur Richelieu, which weighed like 2,000 pounds. It's like an old Canadian made cast iron one. I don't remember the brand off my head. And that was another great hit. And then the biggest of all was the power hammer. I was teaching a course, and I have a good dear friend of mine that's much more on marketplace than I am, if that's possible. And he sends me deal all the time, like anything, a workbench, anything you need, he's gonna find it. Shout out to Jeremy, like he's gonna find it and then send it to me. And on that afternoon, I got a text message, like a couple actually, because he wanted me to see this really quickly. Showed up, beautiful Merco 100-pound hammer. It had been posted on Facebook, and you just saw the comments like going on the post. Like it was 15, 20 comments under. I was like, I'm not getting that power hammer. But then it clicked to me, like the guy had not responded, looked like an older gentleman. So I went on Google and looked for a forge in that area, which is Rougemont, about 20 minutes from my house, which another great coincidence. And I found an old a shop phone number that had closed down but was still in the yellow pages. Called the gentleman up and said like, yeah, there's someone coming to look at it, but we'll see. I'll call you back if he doesn't take it. So that kind of crushed my hopes because the power hammer was $1,500, which for 100, yeah, 100-pound Merco is insane.
Frick for any
Working
power
order,
hammer.
yes, sir. So right
Wow.
then and there, I offered him like 2 grand to take it, and he said, I'll call you back." And then called me later on in the evening after I finished the course. Said, "Well, come look at it. The guy can't get it out of the shop," which rang a couple bells in my mind, but that I still went. I mean, it was worth it. Showed up, and the guy had built the garage over the power hammer, which there was about an inch and a half of clearance to get it out. And it was not a small garage. It had 2 concrete steps you had to go down before you got to the power hammer. So forget bringing a lift in.
Oh
So
my
we had
God.
to lift with a little crane, well, engine crane, and
Yeah.
like little jacks and just balance it out and jump the 2 steps. And I had a forklift delivered there. We had to de-inflate the tires to roll it in to just try to drag it out. That was a 4 hour ordeal. Managed to get the power hammer out, get it loaded in the trailer, and now I had to get either another forklift delivered to my house, which was another $600. That was outrageous for like my means.
Yeah.
I just look over my neighbor who restores cars for a living has one just sitting there. says he didn't. It didn't run for 3 years. Managed to get started up, worked it over here, and got the power hammer in the shop. The only thing broken on it was the spring, which Merco and the little giant company that now exists today and still provide parts. They had one in stock, shipped it to me. 2 weeks later, was like brand new.
Now that's a story, dude. That,
Yeah,
yeah. Wow. I love stories like that, man, and I love when I fall into something like that. It just you feel alive. You feel like you're doing
yeah,
something with yourself, eh?
yeah.
Oh,
I built the whole shop on those deals and just getting that opportunity and just not letting it go to waste and whatever like the man hours you have to put in, that didn't count. But like the rest, just jump on it.
yeah. Well, I have a hard time kind of with that idea of the man hours that go into something like that sometimes
Yeah.
because if you sit back and you calculate it all, the time that you put into it, you had to
Mm.
draw the driving, renting the forklift, all of that. I mean, what did that power hammer actually end up costing you, right?
Like 3 grand, but still, it's less than a brand new power hammer.
Yeah.
And I think there's a love to be had for historic machineries because I could have spent like 2 grand more and just gotten a 50 pound Anyang back in those days, like, and it would have been a great power hammer, brand new and everything. But I mean, it doesn't do justice to the cast steel and the cast iron of those days. That's something I love. And I have old pantographs. I got an old surface grinder that weighs like 3,000 pounds and just cast iron the whole thing. I'm going to show you when we rock around the shop. So it's not just acquiring a machinery, it's also the history that goes into it
Yeah.
and like giving it a new life, basically.
Yeah. Well, I also have a very large affinity towards the older tools and the history of blacksmithing and everything like that. And one of the things I love so much is when people come to the shop and you can show them these old tools and talk to them about the history of that kind of stuff. Yeah, man. I love that. And it's always like visiting other people's shops. Like I just did the video tour of Jim Keller's shop. It was the
Yeah,
first YouTube video we did for the podcast there. Man, his shop is like it's like a museum going in there, right?
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
Love that stuff. There's a part of me that would really love to have an old mechanical hammer like that. Um, you get to so this is something that I was just talking to my dad about, and you get to a point where maybe you're over tooling yourself. Do you ever kind of have to step back on that?
Um, Over the past 5 years, I think I have had to let go a lot of machinery and that I didn't use. Like I got overtooled, to be honest, when I moved in a new shop and like thinking it doesn't matter. It's 18 by 40 feet, the first main shop, and the other one's like 15 by 20. I'm never going to be able to fill it up. And it got so full so quick, and I just couldn't work. Like there
Yeah.
was too much stuff.
Yes.
So I had to sell my small surface grinder, which I came to regret afterwards, and to buy a
Oh,
new one when I got into folding knives. But yeah, I let go a couple machines and I didn't have the proper time to learn how to use them. I got a lathe. I don't know how to run a lathe. I like read the books and stuff, but like I
hey,
make flat stuff, not round stuff. Like
you're a step ahead of me. You read the books, dude. I didn't even read the
yes,
books. Did you
I read
know
all the
that
books.
did you know that an angle grinder works really good on a lathe to shape tools?
I'm just not gonna go into that. I use my milling with wood, so like that's a cardinal sin to some machinists. So I'm sorry for machines out there listening to the podcast, but I mean, you got to do what you got to do sometimes to cut a barrel groove on the rifle or things like that. So,
Yeah. I mean, I think I paid $1,000 for my lathe, and it's really not in the greatest of shape to begin with. So I'm like, whatever.
Exactly.
I have considered getting rid of it because of the footprint it takes up in the shop. It would be nice if, like, this is something I've considered is I don't really need the full bed of a lathe. I don't need the end stock. Really, all I need is the chuck,
Yeah,
right? Yeah.
exactly.
Like essentially
Yeah.
it's one of those grinding machines, those disc grinders. That's all it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah.
With a
Yeah.
ch Yeah, replace the grinding pad with a chuck and you've
Hmm.
got yourself a churning machine now, right?
Yep, yep, yep. That's my mate's by the disc grinder. I got one on the coupe grinder, but I want a variable speed one. And I think to go back on like the over tooling, I think with the years, you figure out what works for you and what really like is worth it, and then you can hone in and buy the good stuff or
Yeah.
like try to find the deal on the good stuff, and then it makes your life so much easier.
What are some of the key things that you've picked up that, over 10 years you're like, "Oh man, this was necessary." Like if I could have gone back to day one, I would have bought this day one if I could have.
Uh, Equipment wise, I think because I spent years on like subpar grinders. And there's also the fact that once again, back then there was not a lot of like 2x72 belt grinders that were worth it, that were like that were affordable. Like most of them were like 3, 4 grand. So it was a huge step. Just buying the coupe I have was like 2 grand and something. And it's just like a huge like the sized up one instead of the four wheels and stuff like that. And it's not like variable speed. I still love it, and it grinds steel like no other. And I keep it just to hog stuff up. But I think just buying that good first grinder, if they had been available at the price range today, I think that would be the biggest buy I could do. Also, my press, like my first press was a converted log one with a big electric motor. That worked great for years. That saved my arm a lot, allowed me to do canister welds, allowed me to just stretch steel out. And in a residential neighborhood, not like now I have the power hammer, I can make, and I live on land where I have no neighbors. But just to get that press without making any noise and being able to smith in the like kind of semi-urban situation would be like my two choices.
Yeah.
Knowledge wise would be just don't skip the grind marks. Like there's always going to be a detail and it's easy to push it off, especially when you're younger and you don't have that like maturity, but also like as a younger artist, like don't skip that 80 or 120 grit sanding to have to go back because you're just going to take twice the time.
Yeah. Yeah. I totally want to talk to you about knives, and this is something that's been kind of going over in the back of my head for the last couple of days since we kind of decided that we were gonna have this conversation. Is like this is your game, and I'm walking into a realm with you. I should have a better precedence coming into conversations about knives, especially at this point with what I've been doing. I suck, man. I'm
Okay.
like, where do I go with asking you the right questions with knives in order to bring a quality conversation to the crowd, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I've got a couple ideas, but man, the tools is easy for me. I can talk about
Yeah.
tools and shop all day long, right? But
Yeah.
uh, a little bit more about the tools, and we'll jump into the knives.
Sorry. Perfect.
The press you had that you started off with
Yes.
was a converted log splitter.
Yeah.
I have my qualms about that. Did you manage to convert it in a way that it was pretty rigid, or was there a lot of slop in there?
Um, well, I'm gonna bring my friend Ben Blacksmith or Benoit. I think you've chatted with him. He makes all my forges. He made my new press, which is now modular, and his presses have gone up in quality tremendously. But he had designed that press from a log splitter that not like a small one. I think it weighed like 300 pounds easily just with the frame. And he had added a lot of bracing to it. He had I think 4 or 5 horsepower motor on it. It ran
Oh,
extremely well. Yeah, it wasn't a small ordeal like at all. I think it was like 6 feet high
oh,
with the base. So it's not like those small log splitters you get like at Princess Auto at
gotcha.
all. It
Okay.
was a huge, like real log splitting press that he just converted with a bigger oil tank and all that. But
Okay.
since then, he makes like full out custom with custom dies. I'll show you later on. Presses that are amazing. So I think they run for like four grand or something with the
Really?
quick change dies. They're super affordable if you're professional, and they run real well.
And he's still making these to this day.
I believe if you ask him, he's gonna make him. I think he had one on the works, so maybe hit him up. We'll see.
Oh, I don't want to go and end up creating a busy line on him or anything like that, but I have had so many people reach out to me in regards to building them hydraulic presses, and I'm
Yeah,
like even just plans. People have bugged me, "Hey, can I get the plans for your hydraulic press?" And it's like, dude, I just like threw this together. I don't think you want my plans per
no,
se,
yeah,
and I'm sure that the plans like similar to what I built are out there. But there's
yeah,
like only one other person I know of in Canada that's making hydraulic presses for sale. That's
yeah.
Broad River Forge out of
Yep,
Ontario.
I've heard great things too about his.
Yeah, yeah, lots of great things. But so like there's this huge Western market that as far as I know, there's no one out there making them. And
Nope.
then I know there's people in Quebec. I've actually had somebody in Quebec reach out to me asking me about a press and like, dude, I'm gonna send them a message right after this. Like, you need to reach
All
out to
right.
Benoit.
Yeah,
Trying
it's
to remember.
Blacksmith 450. I think is his professional page. Well, I don't know if he still makes them, but if he does, they're amazing. So hit him up.
Yeah. I think he was on the podcast at one point. I can't remember if we actually had him as a guest on the podcast or not
Maybe.
because I know his name very, like it would have been back in the day for sure. Back when Justin was on still. It would have
Right.
been, I think Justin would have been. I'm just looking real quick in my list to see if I see him in here. Benoit Laurent. No, that's not the same Benoit. That's why.
Oh,
Benoit Laurent is of Stewart Mountain Forge in Victoria, BC. That's who I was thinking of. What's Ben?
I don't know.
What's your friend's last name again?
I don't remember, but he goes by Blacksmith 450 on the media, so the socials and stuff like that.
Okay, we'll have to we'll have to get in touch with him, and I'm gonna
All
if
right.
he is making presses, I'd really like to start letting other people know about this, and
Yeah,
I don't want to say
and he gets.
advertising for the guy, but I like to let the people know. Oh, speaking of which.
Yep.
Maritime Knife Supply. If you need any blacksmithing equipment, knife making equipment, heat treating kilns, belts, pins, knife
Yeah.
material, you can get so many different blade materials from this guy, powders, you name it. Hit up maritimeknifesupply.ca. Buy 10 belts, you save 10%. And I could be wrong, but I'm pretty sure Lawrence still will let you use the code FSC Kiln at checkout to save yourself $100 on a Even Heat or Paragon Kiln. It's at maritimeknifesupply.com or .ca. As well, I also highly recommend that if you're looking for any sort of blacksmithing literature, look up Blue Moon Press. They carry everything you could think of when it comes to blacksmithing books, man. Like, I'm blown away. These
Yeah.
guys just came out of nowhere on my radar. Turns out they've been around for a long time. I was talking to Jim Keller about this, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Blue Moon's the place to go to buy your books." So, Blue Moon Press.
Sweet.
Yep. Any
Gonna have to go check them
recommendations?
out. I didn't know.
Yeah, no, I was blown away, dude. When I checked out their website, I was like, "Holy
Hmm.
crap, you guys like literally have like every black and old books too, things that
Wow.
you're
Yeah.
like, I didn't think this was even available anymore, right?"
Yeah. Sweet.
Any recommendations from you on businesses to deal with?
Um, I mean, I've watched like the back then there was no like making supplies in Canada or very little and very bad customer service. So like when Martine jumped in, that changed the game. I also work a lot with MC Knife Supplies. Um, he's in Alberta, I think. Great guy. Sometimes like either or don't carry the stuff I need. I'll just switch it out and about for the rest of it, I mean, Princess Auto. I mean, I gotta give a shout out to them because they sponsor. We do a veterans event every year. It's been the second year now. We had 100 people this year, where during Remembrance Day they come out and they forge like little poppies and stuff like that, just to keep their mind off, and a lot of them have not seen each other since they were deployed and things like that, or have just been in contact via media, and they get to come to the shop and just work with their hands and talk and reminisce. We had the federal deputy for our county here that showed up last event. So and Princess Auto sponsored a lot of, and they gave us some prizes and stuff like that. So they got some great blacksmithing equipment too. That changed the game when they showed up. So hit them up too.
That's super awesome, man. I'm a big fan of Princess Auto. Absolutely adore that store. I'm there way too often, and
Yeah,
yeah, amazing customer service. So by all means,
yeah.
yeah, if you need welding equipment, if you need, you know, different parts
Mhm.
for your farm equipment, if you're building yourself a hydraulic press, Princess Auto carries it all.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's awesome, dude. Great information. And maybe let's dive into the knives a little bit.
Let's go into knives.
All right.
Yeah.
Why, what took you to knives, dude? Where did that begin? Where did that journey begin for you?
Then I'm gonna go into another very long story, but I'm gonna try to shorten it to when I just got like 16, 17, 18. I was doing my pilot's course with the Air Cadets, and also my survival courses and to be an instructor there. During the winter part of the survival course, I was building a shelter. They called it a tomb back then. No, roughly translated to English, I think that's it. And we should just dig out the snow, put some branches on top and a tarp, and then just add some snow over it, and then you just slide in and sleep on that. So I had just built that. I remember a Remington knife for it was either Remington or Browning, and I just tried to break off a branch or cut it off, and it wouldn't work. It was a small folder knife. It wasn't the knife designed that to do that, but that's what I had. Blade broke, fell into the pine mattress I had made, and you can believe like we are in survival training, so I didn't have any fire, I didn't have any light. I was just sleeping there with my summer sleeping bag under there. So I lost it and I had to sleep that whole night with the knife under me somewhere. That was not one of the greatest nights. And when I got back, I'm like, I gotta figure something out. I gotta buy a bigger, better knife. Showed up to the Army surplus. They were the great Ontario knives for like 150, $200. At that time, I didn't have any money. So I'm like, I can make that better and easier and something I can afford. Just hooked up the shop vac backwards to blow air into my hardwood fire and just started making knives and just spiraled out of control.
How did you know to build a forge?
Um, I had a great mentor. I got into cigars at the same time. If you look at my logo, there's a cigar and a hammer. And he was out in Colorado or Texas, I believe, back then. He was making straight razors. Then we got in touch, and he got me in touch with other blacksmiths in the US because in Quebec there wasn't any community or much in Canada back 10 years back. And they kind of guided me in a couple Facebook groups and like that learn slowly and being in contact with other people and people giving some of their time to guide you, sometimes not with the best knowledge looking back today, but still trying to get me to somewhere. And that just went from there and just grew. Sold my like fourth or fifth knife, I believe, and then I just funded myself with making a knife, selling it, buying equipment.
What were some of the first knives that you made?
I got really quickly into Damascus. Um, Back then, you couldn't get the plate steel unless you imported it from the US. So I did a lot of cable knives, cable welding, which was also a great hammer practice. So I recommend it to anyone who wants to try it out. Just went to the local hardware store and just bought like lengths of little ropes and just learned to weld those together and then weld a couple together and then forge a bar. And I started making karambits and anything that someone was willing to give me like 100 bucks for. And that I think that's like it came with like no guarantees, like just like I don't know what I'm doing, but I'm making you a knife. So like the people close to me like encouraged me a lot in that endeavor. And then like slowly like the shop at my parents got too small. I was making a ton of dust. The forge was way too warm in there, like a two-car garage with boxes and stuff. So my parents were like, you gotta either stop this or like buy your own place and go on from there. So that's I just well, all right, well, I'll buy my first house and then
How
get
old how
working
old
in
were you?
there. I was 21 or 22, I believe.
That's awesome, dude. Good for you.
Yeah, just before the price of houses like hiked up during COVID. So I was super lucky.
No
Thank you
kidding
for my parents for like pushing me in
for
that
that
direction.
push.
Yeah.
No kidding. Oh wow, huge financial bonus on your end there for sure.
Yeah.
The that kind of idea I've felt has kind of come up a little bit in this conversation a couple times now. The idea of, well, this used to cost this much money, but now it costs this much money. And one of the things that you brought up in regards to that that went the opposite direction was belt grinders because the market actually became a lot more saturated with people building belt grinders. So now you were able to get belt grinders for a cheaper price versus prior to COVID, the market was very limited, so you were stuck with what you were stuck with. Complete opposite of everything else that COVID hit. Like everything else
Yeah.
went in price, right?
Yeah. Well, there's a bit of that cut off, but I think I got the sense of your question in the sense that, like, yeah, belt grinders got cheaper. I mean, they weren't a tool that people really used. I mean, like welding shops, they use the king grinders
Yeah,
and stuff. So there weren't any used market. There wasn't any new market. There was just like the knife makers in the US
yeah,
and then Europe. They were doing their own thing, so we didn't get any of their stuff. But yeah, that changed the game a lot. And but I'm gonna nuance my propos here in the sense that I just bought this belt grinder, the Vever, for like $1,000, 1,000 and change, I think. And it came with all the attachments and all the stuff. And I'm not like pro importing stuff from China and like I want to support local, but it's like a third of the price of a belt grinder here that's made in Canada. So, uh, yeah, I want to vote with my money, but I also need to pay my rent. So,
yep.
and their belt grinder's been great. It's been running well for like the past 6 months, I believe. So, yeah, if you want to get into it and don't have the funds, maybe look into that. Yeah, Ali.
Nothing wrong with taking a bit of a cheaper route sometimes.
Yeah.
I'll give a rebuttal to that I took the cheaper route with a belt grinder I found on Marketplace. I bought a belt grinder for $400. The tracking system on it is absolute garbage. The belt wants to travel all over the place on me on a regular basis. One of the bearings is already seized up after having it for like not even a year. The whole body is made out of aluminum, which is kind of nice in a way, but at the same time, because the belt doesn't track well, the belt has eaten into the aluminum body pretty good. Um, it's It doesn't have any rotation to it. It's just a basic 2x72, no speed control on it. But for 400 bucks,
Yeah.
I'm able to throw a 2x72 belt on there and make it churn, and I can hog metal on it. So am I happy? I don't
Yeah.
know. But hey, you know what? If I wanted a good quality belt grinder, I know that you can head over to Maritime Knife Supply and they carry
Yep.
the Velocity belt grinder, which is a
It's great.
highly recommended belt grinder. Yeah.
Yeah. You gotta also keep in consideration because I run like four belt grinders at like sometimes at the same time.
Yeah.
They can't all be like 4 grand each. So yeah, I tried the cheaper route for the Vever because like I had three others to rely on, and I got really surprised by it. There was like some issues with it I fixed, but yeah, I've been caught with the cheap bell grinder from Marketplace also. I'm beginning, I mean, knives on it for like a year, and just like I sold it for like scrap steel price, I believe. So yeah.
Yeah. I have a funny feeling that my 2x72 is either just going to live its life as a super basic machine, or one day it's going to get passed on to a newer maker in our group. And it's going to be like,
Yeah.
I hope this helps you get going kind of thing, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's perfect too.
The attachments for your 2x72. Now, this is where things get really interesting for me when it comes to knife making. You guys use like every attachment you could freaking think
Yes,
of.
sir.
I've got a 10-inch serrated rubber wheel from Justin. He hooked me up this back in the day. I've never even used it. I don't know
Okay.
how to properly even use it. And this is something where you guys shine in the knife making world, is using all these different attachments.
Yeah.
Something like the 10-inch serrated wheel. What do I want to be doing with that wheel?
Um, I love I love to use it to create like big radiuses like on the back of fishing knives. It gives me a nice even surface on that. To hog material off for like say an axe handle. There's nothing better because there's a smaller contact point than instead of like the big one. And if you just like run your piece down it, you can pinpoint to where you're grinding, so that's great also. And I mean, since I got the variable speed one with my belt grinder, it's also great for hand sanding blades that are just completely ground flat. Anything like a chef's knife or things like that, you can get beautiful surface sanded on the lengthwise side as because like on in most knives, like most beginner knives, the grain running is going to be parallel, well, perpendicular to your blade, and that doesn't matter much. But as you get into higher knives, you're going to want to hand sand everything on the lengthwise side, and especially for Damascus, it makes for a much nicer finish. It's sought after for collectors and such. So that helps me save time by just sanding my flats with a big belt grinder with the serrated wheel and just finishing by hand. Well, you save an hour or so. So that's super useful. And all my production chef's knives, my fillet knives, and such like that, and things like that, just to get them clean and send it in the right direction, actually. 150 grit. That's great.
Awesome, dude. Very awesome. What kind of grits are you playing with?
I love my 36 grit belts. Like, if I could get a sponsor just to get 36 grit belts, I would love it. Hogging off material, and if you like run them well, like top speed on your belt grinder, just push into them. They just eat material like crazy. So I love that. That's like the bet I use the most. After that, I'm gonna have to go with like the 50, 60 grits for the post heat treat grinds and such things like that. And those felt wheels, those felt belts when they came out, changed my life. The blue ones with the backing, to get a beautiful finish and just transition to hand sanding. It's just great. Just get those, and they're cheap too. They're like $7 a belt. So yeah, those are great.
That's you're not talking about the Scotch Brite belt then.
Nope. I'll just run and get you one.
Yeah, definitely be interested. I use the Scotch-Brite belts on a regular basis. They're one of my favorite belts to use for the finish that you're talking about, getting that like
Yeah.
post or pre-hand sanding finish. So this is going to be similar.
Um, I've moved on. Like I still use my Scotch-Brite belts during my courses to get the grit I want, but those are like regular abrasive. And if you switch to the back, they're like Velcro or felt material, and it shapes the contours of your blade and gets in those nooks and crannies that the regular belts don't, and they're just amazing to use. I love those.
So you're flipping the belt inside out and using the inside of the belt.
No, it's just like the backing of like
Oh,
if you want
okay.
to polish, it gives you a little give and it
Gotcha.
just shapes everything perfect. Although if you do flip it back to strop a blade on a variable speed grinder, you just load it up with compound and you can strop a blade really quickly if you're sharpening like 20 knives or things like that. Like they're great for that too.
Is stropping something you do on every blade?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
In the sense that when you're sharpening, you're creating that little burr and that burr is gonna like move around like top back, top under, top under, top under as you switch stones or even belt grits if you're doing them on the belt grinder. But you're gonna want to remove that burr and just leave a finished, polished edge that's straight. Most of the people, when they think their knife's not sharp, it's not that it lost its edge or it's gotten flat at the top. It's just that little burr that you use is just flipped. So you just got to bring it back. So using a leather wheel or the polishing wheel or even that belt loaded with compound and just flipped upside down is going to give you a great strop real quick.
Nice. How often would you recommend stropping a knife?
That's going to depend on your steel and what you use your knife for. My kitchen knives, I use a ceramic rod. I strop it every 2 times I use it.
Really,
My
eh?
hunting knives, well, I'm really picky on my kitchen knives.
That's awesome.
Um, yeah, I do a lot of cooking, so they always got to be sharp. And I don't even own one of my cooking knives. I had made one, and like there was a TV show in Quebec for like barbecue and things like that. So I loaned it out to the show and I just got to go pick it back up. Never used it. Um, but yeah, I use like Kiwi brands from Amazon, 20 bucks. Like the shoemaker doesn't wear his own shoes. That's the whole ordeal. Yeah, really gotta get that knife. And my wife's been asking me for a knife for like 3 years now, and I still haven't got to it. Um, so yeah,
Buddy, were you what the heck, man? We're makers. That's what we're supposed to give our wives for like every occasion, Valentine's,
I
birthdays.
know, I know.
My wife actually just bugged me the other day. She's like, I don't know. I think you're gonna have to slow down on the flowers. I don't know where I'm gonna put any more flowers. It's like, oh, we got a whole yard. Don't worry about it.
Yeah, yeah. Nope. I gotta make her a knife, and I'm really excited. I won't tell on the podcast, but I got some new hobby that I'm gonna try to promote to her, and I got all the equipment for her. So we'll see if she gets into that. Maybe get her in the shop a bit.
Nice.
Um, yeah.
That would be so awesome to if I could have my partner, my wife alongside me, even my daughter to be alongside me in the
Yeah.
shop. It's those rare occasions are like they're so golden, dude, so golden.
Yeah.
Do you
How's
guys
your daughter?
I was sorry.
Yeah, there
9 years
you go.
old. She's
Okay,
turning
wow. Okay.
turning 10
Much
right
older than
away.
mine.
Yeah. You just have one?
Yeah. Yeah, I have one daughter. She's 15 months, so a year and 3 months, I believe. So yeah, she's great. She's real funny. Loves coming in the shop, and what's great also with my shop is I've built a community around it. So there's always like people coming and going and renting the shop. And once people get use a course with me, like I give them a course. After that, they can come and rent the shop, and it's like 80 bucks for the day to use the forge and the here
Smart.
and just 60 bucks for the just the ball grinders and the milling and stuff like that. So it's an affordable way that people can come back. And I got a great student. She's been coming for like 2 years now. It's Creation VRO. Facebook, Instagram, and stuff like that. She's actually a police officer in Montreal, but she's a great knife maker now, and she comes in, and I'm starting to get more and more people. I got Pascal, which makes folding knives. He comes in, gives us pointers, and when we make them. And lastly, I got his name is like Divi. It's like Danny Divirigo. It's Italian. I can't pronounce it. We just call him Divi. So he's working 3 days a week now with me and prepping stuff for me, learning and stuff. He's a vet from the Canadian Army that has been declared 100% invalid. So he just like he comes and hangs out and helps with little projects. He's my cameraman as I'm going to launch my YouTube channel very soon. Yeah,
Nice. Congratulations.
and thank you. So stuff like that. Got some big projects in the coming months, even weeks, and really excited to share them on the YouTube and the page too.
Yeah, man. I I'm struggling with the YouTube thing because it's something I've wanted to do for a long time, and it's finally we're putting the podcast out there now, but it's a lot of extra work to do that, man. And I don't know if
That
it's
editing,
don't know if the payout's gonna be there, but
yeah. I think I'm just gonna put it as a way to show how my work is done, like the behind the scenes. And the big projects I was like hinting about is like I'm making a pair of daisho, which is like the katana and the small wazaki. I don't know if I'm pronouncing that right. The client wants an all Canadian katana, and he wants also meteorite incorporated in the blade.
ooh,
So yeah, I've already forged the steel out. It's not a lot of meteorite, it's iron, so I gotta like use the carbon migration technique to get some carbon into that. I'm gonna fold it probably 500 times, like 500,000 layers, sorry,
wow.
just to like purify the steel, kind of like the tamahagane they make in Japan. I didn't want to go that route because that's something else I don't know, like making the steel. So I'm just making canister welds and putting the meteorite in it and just folding it over and over. I'm gonna add some like modern steel to up the carbon content of the whole ordeal. But yeah, that's going to be a great project. The handle is going to be wrapped in the beaver leather. Um, all the fittings are going to be engraved with maple leaves, all things like that. The tsuba, the sheet is going to be yellow birch, which is the national tree of Quebec. The handle is going to be maple under the beaver skin. So like all those little mementos to this great business owner in Canada that came here and got accepted, and he wants me to make that local to him. So
It's
it's
pretty
pretty sweet.
rad.
Yeah,
That's like that's a heartfelt project there, man.
yeah,
Yeah. Oh, that's yeah, no, that's special, man. Like I can't imagine having a commission like that. Yikes.
huge.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's so huge, man. Man, you gotta this is the thing that bugs me about knife makers a little bit is the difference in clientele you get versus what you get as an artistic blacksmith.
yeah,
The and I see it from the range of people that I bring on the show too, right? Like the knife makers, I looking at guys like uh Jaco van Broenhorst.
yeah.
Um is it JP, what the heck's his name now? He's in
Oh,
Quebec.
GP Padvin. Yeah,
Yeah.
Mr. Padvin. Yes,
Dude,
great knife maker.
Casey Valinsky, guys like the
Yeah,
and it's not just that you guys are awesome knife makers. It's the experiences you guys are getting going to the all the different blade shows and different knife shows and man, I don't know if you saw this. Yako was just down in freaking
yeah,
Brazil and they gave him like wow, dude, that's
yeah,
so freaking cool. So cool.
yeah. Well, it's crazy that like the knife game is so international, and But I also like it makes sense. It's something that everyone in the world uses. It's the man's first tool. Like with the hammer and the knife, it's what else do you want? But I think there's like a case to be made on artistic blacksmiths, especially those that still do like staircases and things like that. Um, I mean, there's Romain, a good friend in Saint Hippolyte is called Francois. He makes phenomenal work, like forged staircases and like all the math involved that like to bring it to build it somewhere else and bring a whole staircase in someone's home and make it fit is phenomenal. And the guy's like to make his case, he's built every hinge in his house for the cabinets. He built the staircase forged completely with tenons that pull the stairs and you can tighten them. And all the wood's been logged from his land that he planked and made the house himself.
Oh,
Just to get in the basement, there's like a pulley system with a wheel that you can just flip the whole thing with like cables and things. His mind works on like a three-dimensional way that mine doesn't. Like that most artists aren't capable of or like can't dream of. And if you want to check him out, his pages like Atelier Carabas, great guy. Um, Also a scholar in his being. I think he's a biologist by trade. Big maple syrup guy, really good guy, and I can talk with him for like hours and such. He lives a life that most of us dream of, but couldn't put in the work, and he does it every day. So like my hat's off to him.
yeah. That's Francois Racine.
Yep.
Yeah, yeah, I'm buddies with him on I've been adoring his work for since day one, pretty much, man. Amazing artist. Absolutely.
Yep.
Um, and that idea that you brought up of the artistic blacksmith and how they have this ability, and like you said, it's not all of them. And it goes outside of artistic blacksmithing too, but that
Yeah.
ability to dream, dude, like it really that's what it comes down to when it comes to the artist is our ability
Hmm.
to daydream essentially. Like, man, I'm
Yeah.
when I'm forming metal, my brain is not even in this world sometimes. Like I feel like I'm on
Nope.
it.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, and in far out scientifical matter, the idea of different, you know, terrain existences and
Yeah.
yeah, it's possible
Hmm.
that the brain actually has floated to a different
Maybe.
area. Maybe, right?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah, I don't know, man. I think having that open mindset plays a lot in
yeah.
the ability to be able to create the different things that we create, right?
Yeah, exactly. And just like it's also muscle. Like most people, some people are born with it, some people like have it in them, but like some people can learn it. And like there's something I try to teach all my students, and it's not really teachable, but I try to still explain it, is the art of the curve. There's a great book by Alessandro Barrico, which is about like it's called This Story or Cette Histoire-là in French. It's about a race car driver that wants to dream out the perfect racetrack, and he goes on and all his life he collects curves, the perfect curves from the shoulder of someone in a movie theater, if I remember correctly, to a sun, the sun coming up with the horizon and all those things. And he puts those 20 corners together to create this bizarre racetrack near his death. But that's what I try to explain to my students is like, if the curve doesn't work, if it hits your eye, if something's out of proportion, trust yourself. It's going to be, there's an instinct in you that's going to tell you if it's right or not. And if
Yep.
it looks organic and natural,
That's it's that falls into the golden ratio, right?
yep,
Yeah.
yep.
Uh,
But I won't go into the math side because that's not my vibe. But like, it's something that's natural in my eye and what I
Well, it
try to
is.
teach people. Yeah.
It's extremely natural. It's part of the nature of our world. But the fucked up thing about that is mathematically there's a nature behind it
Yeah.
mathematically too, which is
Uh-huh.
like when and like man, like you start diving into physics
Yeah.
like no, my brain
No.
blows up, dude. I
Yeah.
can't handle it. Like I can, but
Yeah.
I don't want to. I'm like, no, I don't even want to know that world exists because my brain will
Yeah.
literally implode on itself.
Yeah. No, it's and I'm less in understanding it and more of respecting it.
Yeah.
Like I don't understand what the geese does, but I still admire it when it flies by. I'm also a big geese hunter, which is ironic, but so all of that, just take the time to admire things in life and like that sunset and that rising sun in the morning over the mountain, which my new shop's like on a mountain with the sunset. That's the part I love the most.
No
So
kidding,
all
dude.
of that, like try to translate it into your work, and it just makes it worth it. Makes it worth living.
Yeah. 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 No, for sure. Oh man, you brought up an interesting idea with how you hunt geese and yet you have a deeper connection to them.
Yeah.
And I think that's very true amongst hunters that you do create a deeper connection with the things that you're
Yeah.
involved with, right? And it's not just the animals, it's nature itself too.
Yeah.
Yeah, man, for
And
sure.
it's just like who else beside the hunter is taking the thousands of hours to watch nature?
Yep,
Like no
precisely.
one else wakes up at 4 a.m. to go into marsh and to admire the frogs and the lizards and the pike that swims by and the ducks. And more than that is also we're the only ones that are spending millions of dollars in the community economy. Sorry, my French is showing there. Um, to like preserve those because it's those hunter ticket sales and all those tags that are funding the biologists to make sure those species are fine. And like that, there's that duality of like we're funding it and we're managing it. And if the deer aren't hunted, they're gonna grow out of proportion and get sick and die. So like I'd rather have a freezer full and a respectful hunt because like that simple idea that the humans should let the nature run its course, it can't happen anymore. It's past due.
We're part of humans are part of
Yeah.
nature. Letting
But
nature run its course would include allowing humans to be part of that food chain.
yeah, but we also fucked it up too far.
Yes.
Simple as that. Like we're planting thousands and thousands and millions of acres of corn, and that are benefiting some species, like the geese, that eat
Yeah.
the also the algae that the salmon feed on, and it's killing the salmons. So like, and just their feces is poisoning the waterways. So like, it's too late. And why don't we do the best we can with that and respect it too?
I would much rather live in a society where, in order to put meat in our freezer, we went out and hunted our meat or
Yeah,
fished naturally for our meat and did it in a conservative way versus trying to have all of these farms
yeah,
pumping out garbage for us, man.
yeah,
Yeah,
exactly.
I'm with you on that one big time, dude.
Yeah,
Unfortunately, I don't think society is going to give us that, but
no, but yeah,
we can
we can
hope.
dream.
Yeah, exactly. We're
Yeah,
good dreamers. That's why we do what
yeah.
we do, right?
Yeah. Which brings me on the topic of hunting knives.
Yeah, for sure.
There's some like a recurring theme in my work. Like you can see on, I also make all the sheets for the knives.
You do,
So
eh?
yeah, so we
That's
can do
awesome.
crazy artwork for it, and just like making the knives that you're using in the field is amazing. I butchered my first deer with that knife, which is also the knife I teach during my 1 day course at the shop is that full tang blacksmith handle. Uh, I call it brute de forge, um, which translates to blacksmith's knife roughly.
Right.
But I love making hunting knives, and the people send me pictures of them using them and things like that. It's great.
Heck yeah, man. It's That's one of those things that you don't get as an artist blacksmith. That I,
Yeah,
yeah, I'm a little jealous that you get that. Occasionally I'll get a picture from a client that's like, "Oh, I loved your flowers so much. This is where I put it." And it's like, that's awesome. But
yeah, it's
yeah,
great.
getting a picture from a client that's like, "My kid just killed his first deer and is, you know,
Yeah,
taking care of it with your knife." That's like, wow, that's pretty cool.
yeah,
Like,
that's
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, it's very
And speaking of like getting knives into people's hands, there's also like the fixed blade versus folding knife thing. Like in the knife world, collectioners will buy hunting knives like fixed blades and stuff, but like the common person doesn't want something like that off their belt. It's big, it's unwieldy, and it's not like suitable to be seen in the city with it. So I've like gotten into the folding knife game, and it's been a blast. There's a lot of learning to it. I also love them making them out of Damascus, but all those mechanisms are a rabbit hole. Like if you can get into them, try it. It's real fun. I'm probably gonna be starting a knife course next year about them once I like settle in and figure out how to get people to make them and efficiently, and they get their own knife at the end of the day. But
sweet.
it's something that you can give, or something that people can buy and give to their son, and it's not like this big scary fixed knife that most people are scared of.
Yeah. No, that's definitely a good aspect to be bringing into the shop is being able to do the full. And that's something that has grown quite a bit in the last couple of years. Is I've seen a lot of people are like, I want to get into folding knives. Uh, you know,
Yeah.
Pickles gotten into it a bunch lately. Uh, I don't know if you know Jim Clow.
Nope, I
Oh,
don't
dude,
know him.
I'm gonna forward you. You're gonna
Okay.
get into his loop. He's down in Texas right now, Texas Blade Show,
Okay. Yeah.
and he's got a crazy supply of like mammoth and stuff like that. And yeah, he's a good dude to have on your side for sure when it comes to that stuff. And very
Sweet.
informative too. He likes to share information with people. But man, that dude. What I understand of that folding game knife is you need to have like a lot more equipment all of a sudden now than you had to. Like you have to have a milling machine essentially for doing
Yeah.
these.
Yeah. You need the milling. You need the surface grinder. Like,
Why do you need the milling machine for making these?
well, like for the little cutouts, the like the just a nail nick, it's stupid, but just that little thing to put your nail in and raise it, you need the milling machine to make it clean. And I mean, in the folder game, like to excel, the knife has to be perfect. Like there's nothing like that little spring can't come up and things like that. It's much smaller to look at than the big knives you usually work with the full knives. And I mean, there's a lot of space to hide defects and things like that, which like as you get better, it's less preeminent. But on the folder, there's like inside the scales and all those steps, those extra steps that you have to make in the right order before assembling the knife. And the list is much longer. Like this is like I make the knife, I make the guard, I make the handle. Next, this the adjustment on the spring and to make everything perfect and polished inside and just rough enough to hold oil. And the milling is going to be allow you to cut a relief inside around your pin, so it creates your own rivet. So you need that, and also that surface grinder to make the spring and the blade the same width. Like there's not a millimeter you can allow for tolerance, or else the blade's going to have some play and it's going to be sloppy and things like that, which you don't want, especially at that level. So like, yeah, I had to bring in a brand new surface grinder. Well, brand new, it's like 80, 90 years old now, but to me, and that milling's been priceless also.
I've seen some people convert their surface grinding machine to run a belt.
Yeah,
What's your thoughts on that?
it's faster, but it's less precise.
Yeah.
I mean, if I was making bars of Damascus to sell to people, say like um, Alabama knife maker, like all those guys do, I would 100% run the belt. Like you don't need those tolerances for what you're making. But for the folding knife game, I believe the stone is unmatched. You can dress it, you can make it perfect, and it runs true to the hair. There's nothing like the stone. Like it's a big debate on the folding knife communities too, and everyone proved it. Like it's been proved that like the stones are better. Also, the stones are they run for years and years before I changed them, using them daily as the belts you need to switch them out much faster.
Great. That's that was top notch information right there on that. Like things I have zero input on, right? Like I don't have a
Yeah.
surface grinder. I've never even used a surface grinder before. I got a pretty good
Okay.
idea of how they work and whatnot, but
Big magnet, zoop zoop.
exactly,
Strange
right?
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And with your surface grinder, does it manually start to lower the stone, or is that something that you set yourself and you have to come back and as it's done, it's certain amount of swipes, then you lower
Uh,
it?
yeah, I do all manually. Even like the back and forth is like all manual.
Oh wow.
I didn't want to invest into a big one. They're like three, four times the price. I got this one real cheap, switched the 550-volt motor to like 120 just to run everything smooth and it's easier in the shop. But like for the surface I'm grinding, I don't need that like oh forget it and hands off. I'm just gonna take an hour, make myself some coffee, and just like play with the wheels and make it run. It's suiting too. Like you listen to your podcast, listen to Foresight Chat, and you just grind away.
There you go. Have you looked at automating any of your equipment, bringing in something that helps speed up the process a bunch more?
The only thing I've allowed myself is the laser engraver. Simply for like the sheets to like mark stuff out. It allows me to be so much faster and without the drying time and stuff like that. So that's the only thing, like just to plot like my lines before I start tooling my leather and things like that. But I'm not interested in it in bringing a computer in the shop. Like I'll do it for the podcast, but that's it. I think like the handmade part loses some value too once you go that direction.
Yeah.
And I respect the people that do, it's fine, but I'm not going to be using a CNC mill on my knives any day soon.
It's funny, and I didn't even mean to really head down this road, but it just maybe it naturally came up because I was talking about it with my dad last night. But I brought up the fact that as a blacksmith, a lot of blacksmiths nowadays are bringing CNC equipment into their shop, and my dad's just like, "No, that's not a blacksmith." Then it's like, yeah, it's he's doing blacksmithing stuff, but he's using the CNC machine to help assist in what he does. Well, that doesn't make any sense to me. How does a blacksmith use a CNC machine? It's like, well, I don't know. I mean, like if I'm building a sign for a barber, for example, and he wants me to
Yeah.
do some sort of crazy scroll system to hang the sign from, well, I've got to bend all the scrolls by hand over the forge or over the
Yeah.
anvil, sorry, out of the forge. But then the sign itself that goes on there, well, if I don't have to sit there with a hand plasma cutter and plasma cut all the letters by hand and I can just throw it on my CNC, any take any blacksmith from back in the day and they're gonna jump on that, right? I
Yeah.
agree it does lose its hand built aspect. And if that's something that you lean on strongly with your business, by all means, stay strong on that, right? But if you're in this game where you're like, I want to expand, I want to grow, like I'm in business to make money, then by all
Yeah.
means, you're going to start looking at computer assisted programming. So,
100%.
yeah.
But like there's going to be a moral dilemma and a moral value assigned by each and every one of your customers, your competitors, your friends to your work. Uh, I think the best analogy for that is a lot of people that say, well, you're blacksmithing, but you're using a power hammer, you're cheating. You're not really a blacksmith. Like that dilemma dates back thousands of years because like the first power hammers were like pre Jesus Christ, like 2000 years ago. So like that dilemma always existed, and I think will always exist when new technology comes in. But you got to assign yourself a set of values and like a line in the sand of like I'm staying on this side, and I'm just not going to use all those automated tools. I'm not like the poppies we do for the veterans. We don't cut them with the grinder. We sent them out and like got 800 of them for the sheet of steel because it's what makes sense and it's what like allows us for like those vets to like forge something and not just spend their day on the grinder, which is extremely dangerous also. So like it's gonna be your values and how you want to work. It's just I don't want to be spending some time in front of the computer and plotting things and charting things. And I mean, the max I'm gonna do is like the vinyl cutting for the shirts, which I do myself. Those little stickers on the blade so you can etch your logo into it. And I'm pretty good with the computer, but it's just not something I want in the shop. So it just stays in the house when I got to do like the bills and everything. I do it out there, and it's just simpler like that for me. And yeah,
I'm very much on the same page as you with that. I'm not a huge fan of having to use the computer. Heck, I stuck at a computer doing the podcast, and if I didn't have to, I wouldn't. I would much rather never touch this bloody machine if I don't have to, in all honesty.
yeah,
But yeah, it's kind of essential. Honestly, a lot of it is the fact that we've got these beauty little things nowadays that we can just carry it around with us, and it has almost the same power that the what you can sit at a
yeah,
desk and do. So, you know, really, I'm not going to be doing my CNC programming off of my phone though, right? Like that's
no,
where you kind of like, frick, I kind of have to use the computer. And there's
yeah,
also that, like you said, it's like, is this something that I actually want to be doing? Like that's
yeah.
really the key value in all of this is you setting your personal values of like, is this something I even enjoy doing? Does it make sense, right?
And there's always going to be someone that discourages you to use it, and someone that encourages you to use it. And overall, it's just like it's your choice. Do whatever you want. The only thing I'll say is like don't sell it as like I'm gonna say handmade in the sense that like say you're cutting out knives and then you're selling them as like forged items, like well, why are you doing that? If
Right.
it's never seen inside of a forge either for other than for the heat treat, why are you doing like some people are I've seen do it over the years. That's my only concern with it is just like don't label yourself as something you're not and the rest is just fine by me, but that's my personal values.
Yeah. No, I'm with you on that one for sure too, dude. Um, the whatchamacallit, not engraving, the etching. You brought up the etching that you do. You're doing vinyl stamping for etching. You're using a battery charger for your power supply on that, or how are you doing the etching?
Just the battery.
Just
And
a battery.
honestly, just the battery, 12-volt little thing I got off my generator because honestly, it's easier to hand crank it and it's always empty. So just a 12-volt battery, vinyl sticker I cut off with my cry cut inside the vinyl cutter, and then just like salt water. And the probe is like a piece of steel I just grab off the floor, sand it a bit, and blue shop towel dipped in water, like really salted water that allows me, by using the negative, to just deepen my etch. And then once that's clean, just wipe it off and use cold blue with a Q-tip, and it darkens it. And that's it. That's all. I do a lot of also the stamping under the forge, but that's going to be mainly reserved for axes. As for the knives, sometimes it's going to be, if it's not a brute de forge finish, it's not going to look good. So I'd rather just do the vinyl because I had too many times that like the stamp moved a bit and it didn't stamp well, and it's just been a whole ordeal. On an axe, love it. Just boop, that's it. Big piece of steel. That's great. So like just having the two of them is also amazing.
What about laser etching? Because
I've
you said
looked into that. Um,
because you're
it's
using it for leather,
expensive.
right?
Yeah, I have a small like laser pecker I got from like Amazon for like 300-400 bucks. They're great. For leather, for cardboard, the little signs you can do with them, but they won't do steel. And like the beginning laser engravers that are gonna do steel are around 2 grand,
Yeah.
and they're like dust sensitive, and then you bring in them to shop, and I just don't want to deal with that. Eventually down the line, I think I will get one. But when they're much cheaper and there's going to be use for it, because for now, the vinyl cutter is doing all I need.
Good to know, man. Good to know. It's one of the things that I've looked at in respect to knife making that I've kind of like, man, if I was a knife maker, I think I would be buying one of those like right away. That's I would want that.
Yeah,
And I see the guys that do use them, and certain guys are using them minimally, like to do just like their logo or something like that. Great. Then you see guys that are doing like a full scene on the blade or something. I'm like, God, that looks like a freaking 7-Eleven knife now, man.
yeah. I'm starting to get into engraving, but like the hammer and chisel kind. And eventually I'm gonna be trying to move on to the hand pieces. By what I mean by that, I'm gonna show you when I do the shop tour, is really a chisel, and then you're with a hammer, you're just chasing your lines and drawing on your piece. And it does phenomenal work, and it's very, very traditional. So that engraving interests me a lot for the guns we mentioned at the first, and also for the knife pieces. Like it all ties in together. And I just finished my jewelry bench like 2 days ago this weekend. So I'm going into that. I'm gonna try to get the hand pieces and get that working. There's a lot to learn before I start to incorporate in my big knives and my expensive knives, but just like it's something that's been working, I've been working on the past few years. It's gonna come to fruition like soon.
Hand engraving is like so awesome, dude. I had a hammering that I went to last summer where one of the demonstrations was some engraving and inlay, and it was just like, oh man, that's some serious work, dude. But it looks so good.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, eventually, like I gotta try to find the funds for the Lindsay engraver and stuff like that. Those are great, but money.
Yeah, yeah. That's such as everything, right? But if you make the right choices on investing in tools, it pays itself off eventually, right?
Yeah, well, it's after the disc grinder, that's the next thing, and I'm gonna call my shop like finished.
Yeah,
Two
eh?
things. That's it.
Okay. I'm gonna hold you to that. No, I won't.
Perfect.
I know
Yes, please do.
it's never finished, dude. Never. Who knows? Something new might come on the market, right?
Maybe. We'll see.
Yeah. It's Man, I wish I could say that my shop was set and that's how it's gonna be, but just never seems to
Yeah.
be that way. Um, yeah, man. We didn't even talk about guns, dude. Like you're doing
Yeah.
gun restoration stuff too, man. Like,
Yep.
what the heck? Wow.
Um, that's a Civil War piece from 1860. It's not considered a firearm in Canada because it's pre-1890. Love the Civil War stuff. Love also the World War II stuff. I do a lot of Enfield restorations, meaning I take the old Sporter, cut down the Enfields and restore them to full length with the wood I order from India. So and things like that. So I love the gunsmithing part. I'm a big sports shooter, big. shooting advocate. Um, and it comes and ties in with the hunting stuff too, like being able to maintain your own firearms and having good prices on them. Like really, really often. Like this piece I bought, like it was just a rusted piece of junk, and like you redid the cylinder, redid all the little fittings. The trigger didn't exist, so I bought a new one and made it fit. The little clock that times everything in there also, and then like restoring the hammer. All those little parts tie into like bladesmithing because it's wood, it's metal, and it's brass. Like if once you know like how to solder weld and just all those things, you just figure it out and something else to learn. And you also get to hang cool pieces off your belt, either knife or guns, or hold them in your hand, pieces of history that you just brought back to life and you can use them now. It's just great.
Yeah, man. Like, dude, that gun, like, I just like thinking to myself, like, number one, where do you even find something like that? And then, like, typically a person that would find something like that would just be like, it is what it is. It's either
Yeah,
it stays like this for the rest of its life because who knows what to do with it, or it's honestly, in my opinion, it's probably just garbage because it is in the condition it's in, right? That's what
yeah,
a typical person's gonna say. And then a guy like you comes along and is like, that's awesome. I'm gonna watch what I do with
yeah.
this. Yeah, man, that's
Yeah,
super.
well, it's like the whole ordeal of tr bringing something back to life. I mean, that's great.
Yeah, yeah. I'm finding myself feeling like I want to start doing that with automobiles. I'm really starting to get into the whole like rat rod stuff. I kind of have been for a
Yeah,
long time, but like as my skills progress with blacksmithing and stuff, like yeah, man, I'm watching guys that do those custom cars, and I'm just wow, so cool. And to be
yeah,
able to just and to drive around in that thing, dude, right? Like a car
yeah,
you custom built. Oh, just
yeah.
yeah. Take it
That's
take
also in the plans. I got
yeah.
a '69 Fury parked in the driveway, and it's gonna come up soon. Like it's on the metal now. I just gotta sand a couple things and put it in the body shop. So yeah,
In the body shop as in like your body shop or
as in my neighbor is a body shop and is allowing me to use it for cost.
nice.
So yeah,
Nice. Nice.
really lucky in that sense.
Yeah, no kidding. Are you cool if we take a quick pause, dude?
For sure.
Cool. All right. We're back. Filled up my Java. Sorry for the wait, everybody. Was a quick wait on your end because you didn't see everything that just happened in the last 10 minutes
Yeah,
while we were gone, right? I know that you've got a timeline that you've got to adhere to here, dude, and we're probably coming
it's
up
all
on
right.
it. Okay, well,
I still got an hour. We're good.
let's jump into talking about the shop a little bit, man, maybe.
Yeah.
Or is there anything that you want to jump into before we do that, or anything we haven't talked about?
Um, yeah, well, I can do it while we go around, and I'll talk about each element by itself and things like that.
Sure,
All right.
let's do
So,
it.
what do we start with? I could start with the milling machine. We talked about so much, and then we'll move on to the grinding room and the way it's set up. Oh, quick thing I wanted to touch on, blacksmith insurance.
Uh,
It's not a super fun topic, but I believe we need to talk about it. It's really hard to get,
yep.
and like I got one business like that wants to insure me, and especially with the students, like that's the main thing,
Yeah.
and it's been terrible. So like, if someone in the podcast knows some businesses that want to start working with blacksmith, it'd be great. Because like just my insurance for the past 2 years has gone up 12,000 bucks per year, like easy.
That's is
So yeah,
that's what it's costing us 12,000 or it went up
no,
12.
that's 12. It went up 12,000.
Ouch. Um,
So yeah,
so I have insurance through a company called SGI.
okay,
I think it's Saskatchewan General Insurance is what it's called.
okay,
And if I'm not mistaken, that's about what I pay on insurance a year, is about 1,200.
Okay.
There
Because
are some stipulations to that, of course, and obviously there's barriers on how much coverage you get. The biggest stipulation that I've got with what I do is I can't do anything outside of my shop as far as work wise goes is not covered. Like they'll still
okay.
cover me if I'm doing like a an art show or something like that. And
Okay.
something like, say, for example, I was doing an art show and somebody robbed all, like, stole my trailer full of stuff or something.
Yeah, yeah.
They would cover that, right?
Okay.
Or, if I, if I'm on the road for a business trip, for example, there's coverage on
Yeah.
that kind of stuff too. But if I go to a customer's house and I start doing work at the customer's house, there's like zero coverage on that. So, and I've had
Okay.
people ask me for that kind of stuff, like, can you come and install a handrail? And it's like, well, I
Yeah,
can
yeah.
make you the handrail, but you have to install it yourself. I can't touch that,
Mm.
right? So, and I
That's
know
even more complicated. Yeah. I'm
there's
sorry. Go.
there are some other companies in Alberta and British Columbia that I think one of the just recent guests brought up who they're dealing with. I can't remember the name of it though.
Okay. I'll try to grow through them because yeah, mine's like over 4 grand a year in
Wow.
insurance. Yeah.
So that's a big thing that people may not even
Huge thing.
consider, right? When they're trying to start a business. It's like that's this is something that's always blown me away is the idea of renting a shop.
Yeah.
Because if you take a business course, they're going to tell you that's the way your business goes. That's how you run a business is
Hmm.
you rent a location. Like, dude, that's could be $1,000 to $2,000 a month out of your pocket. Now let's
Yeah.
throw insurance on top of it and property taxes on top of it and this and that. And next
Exactly.
thing you know, you're all of your profit is there's
Yeah.
like, yeah. So I
It's
get
like
it, man.
zero.
Yeah.
Especially with the students, I don't want to do like something dumb and something happens or anything. Like I can't do that. So yeah, it's a big
Yeah.
thing to consider. And like if your shop burns down and you're not insured, also it's just bad. Like you lost everything, and it's like
Dude.
10 years of my life I've like accumulated here. So get insurance people, but they're also expensive. So
Yeah.
shop around.
Yeah.
So
Two of my biggest fears in life, the shop burning down or the shop getting broken into. It's like
yeah,
two of the biggest fears I have with this. Oh, honestly, like I have a hard time sleeping at night sometimes because of it, right? It's like
yeah,
you were just in the shop and you come inside and it's like, did I turn everything off? What did I forget about, right? Yeah.
yeah, for sure. And
Uh,
like that's why like I use like type X gypsum to like anti-fire, and there's like steel plates in the bottom of the walls, and just to make sure.
Crazy. Wow. Yeah. Th and thinking about the insurance thing, if I'm not mistaken, I just had Rob Young on the show about a year ago
Okay,
now, and I'm pretty sure he's with SGI as well. And he has
okay,
students coming in lots right now. Like that's one of his big thing, and it's for welding. It's not even, it's like and I think if I'm not
yeah, it's
mistaken, welding takes it like one step further if you have welding in your shop. Yeah.
100%. Yeah,
Yeah.
100%. So yeah, let's go on the shop tour. I'll
Check out this.
grab you guys.
Yeah.
Do you want to? I'll switch the camera, I think.
Sure.
Second. Oh, there we go. There you go. So, like, this is the main area. This is like where we eat for the students. There's a microwave there, and all of that, like water bottles, all my other stuff. The show is there. So yeah, it's a big
Do
shop.
you have running water in your shop?
Nope, that's some 3 years out. I will.
Okay.
But yeah, I just use bottled water and things like that. But I'm gonna hook up to the full septic, the septic tank.
Nice.
And the second story is going to be like a pool room and a cigar lounge. So
Oh,
that's going to be running
yeah.
water too. So yeah, that's the main like sharpening area around here. We're going to have the engraving bench. I got this beautiful
Oh
window.
my
Like
gosh, that's awesome.
it's pretty sweet.
Yeah.
Yeah, full window. This is all the engraving stuff. Quick tip: if you can't afford an engraving vise, just grab a bowling ball off Marketplace, cut it in half, stick a little tire on it, and you got a engraving vise.
Dude,
So
that's
yeah,
awesome.
yeah, works
Yeah,
really well.
let me see that mini anvil. Zoom in on that.
Oh yeah, it's just like a little jewelry anvil. I just grabbed it.
Oh, it's
I've
awesome.
been yeah, I've been wanting it for them, and the guy just had like all this jewelry stuff for sale too at the same time. So I just
Yeah,
bought everything out and made a
nice.
little corner with it, and a little lamp and the loop and everything. So it's something I'm working on.
Very beautiful. I like how you have
Here we're gonna yeah.
I liked how you have that LED lamp set up there for extra lighting.
Oh yeah, there's also like under cabinet lighting,
Oh my
side
God.
lighting. Like this lights
No
up also.
shadows.
Nope, exactly. So that's how I thought it out. And then the shop is pretty bright. Like I got lights all over
Yeah.
and the big window. So
Yeah.
yeah, that's gonna be my storage area for the pantographs, and I got like engraving plates in there and things like that. I got a beautiful Tormek that was gifted to me by a vet too. I
What?
don't use it very much. I'm not a big fan of it. The stone is way too rough for me.
Okay.
But the leather is quite useful. I'm gonna try to find the Japanese whetstone for it. It's like 6,000 grit. That's gonna be more my style.
Oh man. I
And
totally just I had a Japanese 10,000 grit stone that I just sold to somebody.
I'll,
Oh shit.
I'll find one day.
Yeah.
It's gonna pop up on Marketplace soon. Mini press drill. I'm gonna be using that for pursing all the sheet that are more than 4 layers thick. Sometimes I layer like cow leather, and then there's gonna be stingray, and then like all the inserts are gonna be um, sewn on, and I can't go through with the punches upstairs. So I'm gonna be using this little press drill that's like dedicated to that. I
Okay.
got the big milling here,
Nice. That's a
and yeah,
sweet machine.
yeah, it's huge.
Yeah.
And yeah, nice little milling. I paid like 800 bucks for it. Local to me. I love it.
Is it
Runs true. It runs well.
is it all gear
Yep.
driven for speeds?
It's all gear driven, and it's also auto feed if you want. Like you can move the table back and forth when you're machining like an anvil top or the canister on removing the canister with some carbide inserts. It's great. So yeah, that's that.
I totally just
I
cooked a milling bit last night because my milling machine is belt driven
uh
for the speeds, and I didn't feel like taking the time to open it up and changing the belt, so I just ran it at the
mhm.
speed, and I totally cooked a bit doing that. I was like, ah, such a gift
Yeah,
being lazy. I wish it was
yeah.
geared.
It's just like here, just like
Yeah,
choose whatever speed.
that's
That's
that.
great.
I wish I had that. So awesome that.
Yeah. So it's a Cochrane from the 1950s, I believe. It's
Nice.
leaking a bit of oil, but what good machine doesn't leak oil?
Yeah.
So this is like all the press drills, like one for the wood, one for the metal. So like the speeds are right.
Is that an
After
old?
that, you got the
Is that an old Atlas
that's
drill press? That one?
that is an old Canadian Buffalo Forge
Buffalo Fort.
company.
Yeah. Okay.
It's been like pieced together from two broken ones, and it runs real well now.
Nice.
And yeah, so I love it.
Yeah.
That's a nifty little machine.
What the
It's a
heck?
dual bench filer. I just got that like a couple weeks ago.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, you just stick a file on it and it files for you.
Yeah.
And it's not plugged in now, but like this goes up and down and you can just file with it. I got
Kind of like
some,
a scroll saw almost.
it can also do scroll saw work if you want. There's an insert for it too.
Huh.
You can just swap it out,
Huh.
but does like file work. So I
Yeah.
ordered some really good Robex files from like 672 Rockwell, my bad. And that's going to be able to square off all the little bits and bits for the guards
Yeah.
and the folding knives.
Yeah. Sweet.
I got my old pantograph here, that's a Gorton, I believe, and my new one, it's going to be a new Armis engraver. So that's also going to be put in that place. This one's going out because it's too big, and a friend wants it, so it's going to be his. So
Huh,
that's going to be used for putting all the shields and the folding knives and engraving and stuff like that.
cool.
Nice little machines. You can just copy stuff uh, from big plates to really small.
Yeah, that's a pantograph is not a machine that I have like any experience with using, and because I don't know how they work very well, it's just not on my radar to ever consider even buying one.
Yeah, well, that's kind of how I was with it when I until I got one in the shop. Just a friend wanted to buy it from an old torn down house they're gonna destroy, and we went and got it. He didn't have any space in his shop, so I just kept it and started to play with it. And I was like, wow, this is just great. And I wanted one, so he's taking his back, and I'm just bought a new one.
Yeah, sweet. The grinding
Yep. So
room?
that's going to be, yeah. So all the dust is going to be contained in there. So that's amazing also. Um, we got four belt grinders. We got the Coot, and then those are laser cut ones from the files on the internet. The name just doesn't pop up in the mind now. They are all VFD driven, so you can just choose the speed you want to run. This one isn't. This is just a tank. You just put a strap on it and remove material, just hogs it off.
That was that original one that you were talking about?
Yeah, yeah, that's my second one after the marketplace flop I got. And yeah, that's nice little addition too. My apprentice
Yeah.
worked on that, made a little table for it and everything so we can cut out some production blanks.
Yeah.
Those are the not forged, just like stock removed knives I saw at the knife shop. The Vever one I was talking about with the flat platen, the belt, the round one, and the little inserts. It's just great. It's been running great.
Huh.
So, yep, great deal on that. Got the
Yeah.
sandblaster to restore knives. I'll remove all the scales off stuff and stuff like that. Just great stuff.
Yeah. Yeah. Hey,
Uh,
do you ever soak your stuff in vinegar after foraging to remove scale or
I tried vinegar. My best thing is pH down.
okay. Yep.
The pool supply stuff,
Yep.
you just like saturate your water with it and it removes scales like it's nobody's business. It's been great.
Yeah, it does it in a few hours versus overnight kind of thing, right?
Exactly.
Yeah. Cool.
Um, the surface grinder I was talking about, it's a
Yeah.
Brown and Sharp from the 50s also. So this is a huge magnet you can just turn on with the flip switch
Yeah.
and just hold your pieces as you machine them, go back and forth, back up and down. Great little machine. You love those vintage colors with
Yeah,
the
man.
greens and the reds and so yeah.
Yeah.
Back then, like this part didn't exist in the garage, so I built it out. I added some windows too, so it's kind of organized that some days I'm gonna have some forge and fire competitions and we can close up the doors and people are gonna be able to look into the grinding room without
Oh,
having to
yeah.
yeah, without having to be near the sparks, near the sound, near anything else. So that's why it's set up like this.
Very cool.
And also it contains the dust. So the welding corner and all the woodworking equipment for the dust too.
Yeah, man. Yeah, my shop is one wide open room, dude, and frickin'